Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of Paul Brown Show. This evening, my guest will be a very special guest, Mr. Marcus Massey. He's the CEO of Gargantuan Entertainment. How you doing there, Mr. Massey?
I'm wonderful, man. I'm glad to be here, Mr. Brown.
Thank you for coming on the show, sir. Tell the viewing audience, who is Marcus Massey?
Well, Marcus Massey is, first of all, a Charlotte, born and raised native of Charlotte, North Carolina. Raised in the south side of Charlotte, North Carolina. The owner of Gargantuan Films, visionary, barber, a father, loving father. And the motto I go by is struggle, change, and prosperity. That's what I live for.
At one point in your life, you went through a lot. Do you ever think you would be where you are at right now?
Well, looking back, I can say no before I got my one-on-one with God to know who I am today. And I can say yes because once I got my one-on-one with God and learned my place in life, I knew I would make a huge impact on my future from where I was at. So yes, I did know.
Who would you consider to be that inspiration in your life?
My inspiration would definitely be Christ. You know, that's the most inspiration for me because where I come from and what I've done in life, that's all I had to reach out to, and that was the only source I reached out to better my life and do the things that I'm doing today because I knew that's where my heart was at.
What does it take to be a successful business owner?
Well, today, for me being a successful business owner is for a person to have that drive and just be relentless about everything they want to do in life and stay positive and humble about what they're trying to do. And don't ever let nobody tell them they can't do something that their heart is set to do. And that's how I live my life. You know, it's about the struggle to change and prosperity because I've been through so much in life that everybody said, you have your naysayer to say, you ain't gonna do this, you ain't gonna do that. But I'm not in competition to prove them wrong. I just wanted to make sure that Marcus knew who he was as a person and do what I set out to do. And that was to make history, and that's what I'm doing today.
What advice would you give to our youth who wants to start a business?
I would first of all tell them to get their plan and just make it plain. Like, I try to do mine from a 5-year vision where I actually put down exactly what I wanted to do, all my goals, admirations, and dreams, and said I'm gonna tackle them one by one without doing a whole lot of, trying to do too much at one time. I set my goals, I attacked them, I executed them, I studied everything that I wanted to do about that business, and I did it. And when I got towards the end of what I wanted to do, that actual part, because where I was at, I was incarcerated when I was doing a lot of my visions, and I wasn't able to attack the last part of my goals and my dreams until actually when I got out to have the resources to do what I wanted to do. So I pulled all that together, had all my homework done, and then I executed it when I got out. And when I got out, I did what I wanted to do, and I stayed on top of it. And that's what I would give to a young entrepreneur that wants to start their own business and be successful: is stay on point, stay focused, and go after your dream.
You're a film director. What inspired you to want to be in that field?
Well, while I was incarcerated, I came up with something saying, I wrote the books. I had started writing books and while I was incarcerated, and I kind of like conquered that. We ended up with 30 books. And I say, when I get out, I want to be able to have the impact to bring each book to a visual because it was different. Correct. I hadn't seen that. A lot of people that make movies. A lot of them don't have novels that they created from the movie. So I said, you know what, I want to have an impact in a body of work, so when I get out, I didn't want anybody to say, when I approach somebody, it might be somebody successful that say, you know what, I give you 2 minutes of my time, what are you about? talk to me. And if I can help you, I'll help you. So I wanted to have that body of work already lined up. So when I talk to anybody of any position that could help me, I would already have this done. And I'd be ready, you know, I'm just ready, packaged and ready to go. And that was the way I did it.
You have a movie to come up.
Yes.
What inspired you to come up with that movie, and how much did it take to make that movie?
Well, it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears because, you know, the actual movie was founded from the book that I decided to write in 2005. That was actually the first book of 30 that I started from 2005 to 2007 in my release from incarceration. And that book did bestseller. It was a bestseller. I did that book in 3 weeks. It was a journey of my life that I wanted to give back to the youth as a horror story. You know, I wanted to actually give them like a scare tactic to say, you know how the scared straight programs are? I wanted to give it to them in a book to say, you know what? I didn't want them to glorify the violence of that book. I wanted them to read that book and understand that this would come with that game. You know, that type of life in that drug era ain't nothing promised. It's a concrete jungle. It's death and incarceration. And it was a modern day horror story. And I wanted to bring that to visual. And that's what I did. I wanted to bring that to life.
We're going to take a break and watch some footage from some of your show right now.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, man. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, man.
Yo, Pete, what's up, baby?
What's up, T.I. Flo?
I wanted to wish you congratulations, my friend. I heard you got your parole letter today.
Yeah, I got my letter today.
Yeah, you need to get with me. I heard some great things. I got something I want to put together with you and your friend Fame. I wanted to both of you.
How you know about Fame? I mean, what make you choose us?
It's real good. I know I can utilize some men like you out on the street. I heard some good things. I heard that you're killers, and that's what I'm gonna need. I'll be out of here in a year.
Yeah?
Yeah. So what I want to do, I'm gonna get Killer to get you my address, my number. Call me. I got something that's gonna make us both very rich men.
I hope so.
Marcus, that was some footage from some of your coming up film. Describe some of that footage that we just saw.
Well, that footage was about me getting ready to be prepared to be released. But this was when I was incarcerated the first time. When my mind wasn't on God, it was just of being corrupt when I got out. You know, it was like the revolving door that so many of us go through, that's been trying to chase after that blood money. And that's the part of the lesson and the teaching I'm trying to do, to show them that life and how it's so easy to get suckered up into that glorifying game, to where you won't even have your mind on your life, your own life. You'll actually come out after doing X amount of years and go right back into the same revolving door. And that's what that was about.
What do you say to the youth that look at this lifestyle, the money, the cars, and what do you say to them about that fast money?
Well, one thing I would love to say to them, and I always say this when I go out, and they always, when I do go to park recs and speak to the kids, the at-risk teens that think it's cool and think it's a good thing to glorify, what they see, that it's a mirage. It's fake, it's fictitious, and there's nothing real about it. It's just like how now they won't wear the Jordans from people's trunks. Kids won't wear that. They'll tell you, that's fake. I don't want that. I'm gonna go to the store and get, well, that's what this is. That life,
correct,
is some fake Jordans. That's exactly what it is. It's not authentic. And when they try to reach out for that glitz and glam, they don't understand it. It's a life sentence with it, or it's York Memorial Park, at the funeral home, because them the two choices you got. And it's not no coming back from it. Once you're in it, you sign an actual contract with Satan, saying that anything goes, because there ain't nothing promised, there ain't nothing nice about no concrete jungle. This is what you entered into, and everything goes, and ain't no honor amongst thieves. And they'd have to realize that this is not the way. I'm a prime spokesman that God allowed me to make it out of that situation. I took you through a metamorphosis stage where he said, I look at it like that metamorphosis stage of a butterfly,
yes,
having to go in, and that's my struggle. And seeing how all the things that I caused, now me laying on that bed, that hard bed, was saying, okay, now God gonna show me, okay, he let me feel it. This is the pain that's gonna come from that. If you're fortunate enough to come to prison, instead of getting killed before you got there,
Yes, sir.
And to be able to have that sense of coming to him and crying out to him, say, I want to change. That's the part of my change. And then once you take that struggle and learn from what you're doing and actually want to change, then God gonna let you see the prosperity of it. And that's what I went through. And it took me 13 years of jumping in that game, working for Satan for all them years, to know that it was fake. It was a mirage. It's gonna be days you don't get, if you're fortunate to go to prison and not get killed in the streets, there's gonna be times where you'll realize you don't have family. There's gonna be times when you realize that your family can't come see you because your mom and dad done got too old.
Correct.
They can't travel them highways. Or you losing family members to what you caused before. Because if you hadn't done that, maybe you wouldn't be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So those are all the decisions and choices we make in life, thinking that game is everything that they say it is, when you see guys riding around with them $100,000 cars, but you're not realizing that he got a car note. You know what I'm saying? He doing anything he can to make that car note. And if he don't make that car note, that glitz and glam you think he got it, he made it, he hadn't made anything. He just riding a rental car. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just a lot of fugaziness to it, man. And I tell the youth all the time, man, don't go for it, because it ain't real. When them brothers go home at night, the ones that's not out here getting the real money, because right now there is no real money in that. They might have a little few false promises and false hopes with the money, because it buys the little material things for them now, but it don't last long at all. It won't outlast their prison bed, I guarantee you. And that's what I always tell them, don't fall for it. Don't go for it. It's not real. Bag up from it. If you listen to me, because I've been there, and I just pray on your life that you don't make those decisions.
How much of an impact was your father in your life?
Oh, well, my father, I was legally adopted by a gentleman named Marcus Massey, Sr. That was the best guy I ever met in my life. I knew my biological, but I was raised from Mr. Mike Massey, and he was the best dude I ever met in my life. You know what I mean? The best. And I owe all my success to him. I always keep his name alive. He passed away in 2001 while I was incarcerated, which crushed me. You know what I mean? But God allowed me to say, I said, God, I want to show Dad that, you know I messed up when I was out here, but I'm really this person today. And I know he see what I'm doing. So everything I do, I keep his name out there, you know, in the dedication section of everything I do, between the premiering of my film or the acknowledgments in my books. I always keep his name there, right after God.
As you look at life today and you know that your father is looking at you and what you're doing, what would you like to say to him?
Oh, I would definitely love to say, Dad, you see me now. You know, I'm doing everything that I dreamed of doing. You know, this is the real me. You know I did things that wasn't of your teachings, because you showed me so much love and caring, you know, how to be a man at an early age. He showed me what family was about. You know, for a man that wasn't my biological, and took my mother and her kids in and showed me a life that, you know, we never even dreamed of, because we were kids from poverty. And he took us in and took my mom, got a home, a beautiful home, and raised us in a middle class area, because his financial situation was good. You know, and that's one of the reasons why they say, you know, why Marcus was so hard and so bad, and he had everything he wanted as a child, because his dad loved him so much. He was the apple of his dad's eye. But I can say today that I know he's proud of me, and you know, I know he's looking at me, and I can say, Dad, I made you proud. And I know you're proud because I can feel it.
Your mother, how has she inspired you? Because I know at the premiere your mother was there.
Oh, yeah.
And I heard her in the background. I heard she was cheering for her son. And I was
Yeah.
like, what does that make you feel, you know, knowing that you're a changed person?
Oh, yeah, it makes me feel great just to be able to look at her, see me live out my dreams, because it was in January of 2007, I wrote her a letter while I was incarcerated. I had 8 months left on my sentence of 13 years of being incarcerated. And I told her, I say, Mom, I say, get ready to live the life that I promised you that I would give you when I get out, with my change and what I'm doing today. I say, these books and my vision of making a movie gonna pay off. And it was funny, because that letter was given to me last week.
Okay.
She said, I want you to come to my house. I said, what's going on? She said, I want to give you something. And she gave me that letter, and I read it. And she said, this is why I'm proud of you. Because I knew once you got out here, and you've been out here 7 years, you stayed on top of your faith, your game, and you stayed on top of everything you believe in yourself. And you ain't let nobody sidetrack you. You ain't let nothing sidetrack you. You stayed on it, and you did it. Just to be at that premiere was like the biggest thing for my mom to see that. You know what I mean? That was a big thing for me.
Right.
Yeah.
You're a husband. That support that you get from your wife, how valuable is that into your everyday movement of life?
Oh, she's been supporting since day one. You know, when I got out, I met her in 2007, and she's been like my biggest supporter. Like, she, all the grind, everything that I've been through, like, you know, going out, hustling the books when we had to go to different college campuses, just selling the books from out the trunk. She been right there, you know, so it's a big inspiration for her, having my back, being my biggest supporter, you know. She's seen when it's been times where I'm thinking, you know, man, the books ain't selling like I thought they would. And her encouraging voice is like, no, you keep on, they gonna receive it, because God got it. You know, you don't worry about what they gonna do. They gonna receive it because God got it. You doing the right thing, just stay focused. You know, I appreciate her for that.
You have done so much for the city of Charlotte. How important is it to give back to the city?
Oh, it's very, very important. You know, with each step that we're making in this direction with this film, I do know that with me being in the position I'm in and my business partner, which is David Pitt, we're able to show, because we see it in these young guys' eyes. You know, now you got guys just like me. I picked up a book that said Screenwriting for Dummies. Read that book, mastered that book, and actually made my first film from reading that book. Never been to film school, didn't know anything about acting. It just was the will and passion of what we wanted to do. So I said, that'll be great for us to, when we go out and we see these young guys like doing videos, editing, editing real video footage that they did. These guys ain't been to school either. Right. But they now look at me since we've done this film to actually see this film and say, man, you just don't know what you did, man. You made history right here in our town. Just you doing it. You know what I mean? That means so much to me. Just, it ain't about no money, because money come with anything that you do. God gonna make sure your path is paved with the finances as long as you stay in tune with what you're doing and it's positive. If you giving in on good ground, then you're gonna reap the benefits of what God promised, in your season. Right. And that's my giving back. I love it. I can't wait to give, whatever back to what, and our growth and the wealth we get from what we're doing. Because right now we got a good look with some majors that's interested in what we're doing. And I'm definitely going to put this city the focal point of what we're doing, because we was asked the question, what's up with Charlotte? Why is it that, nothing has really blossomed from there in the entertainment field for its music? And they asked me this question. We was in California, and I was glad to answer it proudly. Like, it's so much talent in our town, in our city. We just needed that machine to come there, right, and give us that kind of avenue to say, hey, we're here, we're supporting you guys. Y'all come on out and do your thing, because we got the platform for you. But we needed somebody, and I feel like God allowing me and my team, Gargantuan, to be able to have that platform to say, you know what, now the door been open. You guys come on. And that's a form of that giving back that, I see we giving it to them guys and they loving it, and I love it as well.
In all successful businesses, there's always that other person. For you, it's David Pitt.
Yeah.
Tell the audience how much of an impact has he been into the growth of Gargantuan Entertainment?
Well, that's a good question, because David is actually a native of Portsmouth, Virginia. I was able to meet him through a mutual while we was incarcerated, and I was trying to get into the film world. I told you about the book, the Screenwriters for Dummies, and a gentleman from North Carolina said, "Man, I want to introduce you to a brother that made a movie in Portsmouth, Virginia, and made $1 million plus, but he got incarcerated behind the movie." So I was like, I got to meet him, So they put us together, and I told the guy, say, I'm interested in learning how to write a screenplay. I write novels. And he said, well, that's cool, because I want to learn how to write a novel. I said, well, I teach you how to write a novel if you teach me how to write a screenplay. And when he showed me, we've been the best friends ever since. And I told him, in 07, this was in 06 when we met, and I told him, I said, I never forget what you did. I never forget it, and I promise you, we're gonna hook up when you get out. If God willing, we'll be around each other when you get out. I said, I'm gonna keep in touch with you, because I actually got out first. Right. And it was the beginning of how God built the friendship for a dynasty. When I got out, I kept in touch with him. He came home, and Gargantuan was birthed.
When you look at film directors like Tyler Perry, Steven Spielberg, when you get into that area, how will that change Marcus Massey?
Well, it'll change me for the better as well as now, because I'm always be the same guy that's loving, the father, the filmmaker, the person that stands on struggle, change, and prosperity, the giving back, the inspiration to the youth. I'm gonna always be that person. It'll just give us a even bigger platform for Charlotte, because I'm gonna rep this city and get the people that need to be where they need to be to live out their dreams as well as I'm living out mine. So it won't change me in no negative way. Right. I won't get Hollywoodish, they say. Now that definitely won't happen, because that ain't in me. I'm definitely gonna be right here supporting this town and trying to give back all I can to have that door open, because there's so much talent here. It's unbelievable. It just need to be, they need that voice. And I hope I'm a part of being that voice so they can express that.
Mr. Massey, what would you consider to be the best advice someone ever gave you?
The best advice someone ever gave me was a guy told me while I was incarcerated, he said, you being the baddest dude was never what was so important to the streets. Your change will be far greater than how bad you was in the street and you coming home. And I thought about that. I was like, he said God will magnify your name. He gonna make sure your name greater in the positive than it was in the negative. And he gonna use you because I see that light on you. And that was big.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marcus Massey, the movie to come up, Gargantuan Entertainment.
Yeah.
We look for nothing but the best for you, sir.
Likewise.
Continue to reach for the stars.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you be encouraged. Thank you.
I was young, robbing niggas, my struggle made me a beast. I was young, robbing niggas, my struggle made me a beast. I was young, robbing niggas, my struggle made me a beast. I was young, robbing niggas, my struggle made me a beast. I was young, robbing niggas, my struggle made me a beast. I was young, robbing niggas, my struggle made me a beast. I was young, robbing niggas, my struggle made me a beast. I was young, robbing niggas, my struggle made me a beast. I was young, robbing niggas, my struggle made me a beast. I was young, robbing niggas, my struggle made me a beast.
Gentlemen, greetings. I am Sir Willie Lynch from the West Indies. I greet you here today on the banks of the James River in the year of the Lord 1712. I should thank you all for coming. I am here to introduce to you a method of solving your problems. I have a foolproof method of controlling your black slaves. I guarantee each and every one of you, if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or overseers can use it. I have outlined a number of differences amongst the black slaves and taken those differences and made them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for self-control purposes. I shall give you an outline of actions, but before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than idolization, respect, or admiration. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves.